In this case, I have referred to these different versions by the names of their directors. But in 3 of these cases, the directors were also actors playing the leading role of Hamlet. Laurence Olivier did what is arguably the classic film version of Hamlet. He did it in the 1940s, I believe it was 1948. Did it in the 1940s. He did it in black and white. He didn't have to. You know, even in the 1940s, they had Technicolor and various other forms of color. As a matter of fact, earlier, he had done a famous version of Henry V in beautiful, beautiful color. So he could have done Hamlet in color had he wanted to, but he chose to do this in black and white because he could play with light and shadow and illumination and darkness to artistic effect. And as the plot of the play gets darker and darker, Olivier plays more and more with the capabilities of darkness in black and white film. And also, this is generally referred to as a classic rendition of a Freudian interpretation. Is the version directed by Franco Zeffirelli. And Franco Zeffirelli is an Italian director, as his name might suggest. And he made his career as a director of operas in Italy. And not surprisingly, I mean, if you've been to operas, you know what I'm talking about. Spectacle is always very important in opera. And Zeffirelli, of course, carries that out. I mean, he does wonderful things with settings and scenery and costuming and so forth. Okay, and at one point he was convinced that he should do a film version of that. And so what they did was they actually just set up cameras and they filmed an actual stage production. So this is done in a very minimalist way, unlike Zeffirelli's. It's done in more or less modern dress, though it's hard to tell what modern means in this case, because the costuming is so minimalist, by which I mean that the women are dressed in very, very simple black floor-length gowns. Very simple, you know, no jewelry or anything else to draw attention to their dress. And the men are wearing dark suits, typically dark navy-like uniforms. In fact, in some cases, they are naval uniforms. And because the play, as you know, is set in Denmark, these are Danish uniforms. But they're very, very simple, as the dress uniforms for the American Navy are. And nothing in particular to draw attention, again, to the way the men are dressed either. There's almost nothing on the stage. Once again, everything is kept to an absolute bare minimum. If you have to have a chair might be there. If you have to have a table might be there. But there's no effort to provide setting in our usual sense of setting. And it's interesting that that forces us to focus really on the play itself and on the actors and the way they portray the different roles. And then I have put up here Kenneth Branagh. Kenneth Branagh has done that, well, it's officially called a 5-hour film, but there's a 30-minute intermission in the middle of it because not very many people can sit quietly through 4.5 hours of a film version of a play. And in this one, unlike other versions of Hamlet, every single word is retained. Now, one of the things we're going to talk about is that the directors of different versions will make choices not only about how the characters are going to act and about things like costuming and setting and so forth, but also what's going to be kept in the text.